If you go to 1 Kings 19:10-14, Elijah the prophet of God says, I have been very jealous for the Lord, Yahweh, God of hosts. Then in verse 14 it repeats the same statement. Elijah was jealous for his God, because the children of Israel forgot the God of Israel. They started worshipping Baal and killing the prophets of the God of Israel. Thus he was on the run for his life from Jezebel, a worshipper of Baal who did not fear his God. 1 Kings 19:2. Elijah challenged all the prophets of Baal. There were 450 prophets, and 400 prophets of the groves, so there was 850 prophets altogether that sat at the table with Jezebel according to 1 Kings 18:19. Elijah's challenge was, 2 bullocks or bulls will be laid on 2 altars, with no fire under it. Whoever can call on the name of their God, and their God puts fire on the bull, then that would be the God who everybody will worship. 1 Kings 18:23-25. The prophets of Baal sit there since the morning and their God doesn't pull through, so Elijah mocks them saying in verse 27, Cry aloud, for he is a God, either he is talking, or he is pursuing, or he is in a journey, or sleepeth, and must be awaked. Elijah comes at the evening, puts 12 stones down, built an altar, poured water on it 3 times, said his prayers, and his God consumed it with fire. Then he took all 850 prophets of Baal, and it says in verse 40, Elijah brought them down to the brook Kishon, and slew them there. God condones this. God actually allowed this mass murder to happen just because he is a jealous God, and they didn't believe in him. The king Ahab runs home and tells his wife Jezebel, and Jezebel says in 1 Kings 19:2, So let the gods, Elohim, do to me, and more also, if I make not thy life the life of one of them by tomorrow about this time. Jezebel was not afraid of Elijah, nor his God. She challenged him, and wanted to kill him like how he killed her prophets, so Elijah is now running for his life because he's scared. Elijah lost faith in his own God in verse 4 and requested, Shaul asked, for himself that he might die. Muth. Elijah, who just killed 850 people, lost all his faith in his own God and asked to die. He didn't think that God could come through for him anymore. He asked God to take away my life, Nefesh soul. How can you kill 850 people then want to die because one lady wants to kill you? Elijah goes against the 6th commandment in Exodus 20:15, where it says thou shalt not kill, yet, it's okay for him to kill 850 people. However, when one lady wants to kill him, now, all of a sudden it's a problem, and he wants to die. God condones this in your Bible. This is not the only time that Elijah massacres a lot of people, and God condones it. And the Quran acknowledges this prophet Elijah as, Ilyas Quran 37:123, Ilyasa Quran 686, 38:48, Ilyasian Quran 37-130. In 2 Kings chapter 1-1-17, it speaks about a king named Ahaziah in the Bible who fell down through a lattice, which is a net in his chamber, and became sick. He then sends out his messengers to ask Beelzebub, the god of Ekron, was he going to recover. God tunes in on this conversation, and sends his angel, Malach meaning representative, messenger in verse 3, to Elijah to tell him, Arise, go up to meet the messengers of the king of Samaria, and say unto them, Is it not because there is not a God, Elohim, in Israel, that ye go to inquire of Beelzebub the god of Ekron? Let's look at the geography of these two places for a minute. Samaria is a region of northern Palestine. It is the capital city of the northern kingdom of Israel, located 30 miles, 50 kilometers, north of Jerusalem and 6 miles, 10 kilometers, northwest of Shechem. Ekron is the most northerly of the 5 principal cities of the Philistines, located in the lowlands of Judah and later given to Dan. Both of these cities were located in Palestine. However, Samaria, where the king Ahaziah lived, was associated with Israel. Thus, Ahaziah was supposed to be worshipping the God of Israel, and not Beelzebub the god of Ekron. This made God jealous of the fact that he inquired another god beside him. Remember Exodus 23, Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Throughout God's jealousy, he curses Ahaziah in verse 4, to die, all because he inquired of another god Beelzebub instead of him. It gets worse. When the news reaches Ahaziah, and he finds out that this is Elijah, the Tishbite, he sends out 51 soldiers to Elijah, and let's read what happens. In verse 10 it says, If I be a man of God, Elohim, then let fire, Aish, come down, Yorad descend, from heaven, Shamaim, where God lives, and consume, Akal, thee and they 50. And there came down, Yorad, fire, Aish, from heaven, Shamaim, where God lives, and consumed, Akal, him and his 50. This not only happens once, but twice. The next time it happens, Ahaziah sends 51 more soldiers to Elijah in verse 11, and they suffer the same fate as the first group in verse 12, cremation. All of them were cremated on the spot with fire, which came down from heaven where God lives. Now the third time Ahaziah sends out 51 soldiers, the captain gets down on his knees and begs for their life, and the angel or Malach of God, Elohim, says in verse 15, "Okay, go down with him, be not afraid of him." Ahaziah was already cursed by God, so by the time Elijah comes to him, he reiterates that God said, "Because you went to ask of Beelzebub, instead of me, the God of Israel, you will die on that bed." Then if you go to verse 17, it says, "So he died, Muth, according to the word of the Lord, Yahweh, which Elijah had spoken." Was all this necessary? Why couldn't God just mind his business, and let Ahaziah's messengers go to the Beelzebub, the god of Ekron? Wouldn't that have saved 102 innocent lives who were just doing what their master or king required of them? They were simply following orders. Why couldn't God just send them back and say, "You'll have nothing to do with this is between me and Ahaziah"? You know why? Because this act was done out of God's jealousy. If you go to 2 Kings 12:20, the servants of Joash made a conspiracy against him, and killed him. Then later on in 2 Kings 14:5, Joash's son Amaziah reigned on the throne, and when he became stable in his position, he killed all the servants who took part in the death of his father. This is revenge. The same revenge that God performs in Nahum 1:2-3. So tell me, Mr. Preacher Man, what's the difference when God kills, when God's prophets kills, and when a civilian kills and God punishes him or her in your Bible? All of these murders in the book of Kings are happening because the kings are worshipping other gods besides the God of Israel, who continuously makes it clear in the Bible that he is a jealous God, Exodus 14:20, and he sends out his prophets to be jealous for him, 1 Kings 19:10, who kills in the name of their Lord, Yahweh, God, Elohim, of Israel. However, if you go back to the 10 Commandments of God, God makes it clear in Exodus 20:13, not to kill, thou shalt not kill. This is one of the 10 Commandments according to your Bible that was sent down from God himself by way of Moses, refer to El's Holy Torah. So now the question that I'm asking you, Mr. Preacher, or Mr. Jew, is, if, according to your Bible, which you so claim is a holy book, your God specifically tells you not to kill on countless occasions, why does he make an exception to the rule by condoning his prophets to commit murder? Why does he give you a commandment commanding you to do something, and then go behind your back and do the same thing he tells you not to do? It's ironic that God doesn't practice what he preaches, and neither do you, Mr. Preacher Man. Something is wrong here. Something's not right with this picture. God commands you not to kill, yet goes and tells Cain, and Abel, Habil, to offer a sacrifice to him in Genesis chapter 4. Are there precedents for killing when it comes to God and his prophets? As a person whose soul is seeking the truth, I just want to know, when is the line drawn between what is right and what is wrong with God? Don't tell me, Mr. Christian, to just close my eyes, have faith and God will prevail. You want me to pretend like I didn't come across all these evil, malicious stories and contradictions in your Bible? It's okay to kill in your Bible, just as long as you're killing in my name, and do not bind partners with anyone else. Then I, God, will kill you, or send someone to kill you. The Muslims fall under this same principle. They believe in one God, Allah, and that Muhammad, Ahmad, Mahmud, the triad of names, is his prophet. So if you go out and kill in Sabil Allah, the path of Allah, Quran 2-190, then it's okay. You have to go and become a martyr, a mushahida, and bomb up the World Trade Center, and terrorize people. Killing babies and innocent people all in the name of your God Allah or Jehovah, Yahweh or Buddha. After it's all over, then what? What will you have accomplished for your God? The fact that another life was taken away. Religion breeds this type of ignorance. Religion breeds this mentality that la ilaha illa Allah, wahdahu la sharika lahu, there is no God but Allah, he is alone and has no partner, Quran 4:87. Thus if you attempt to explain to them, in your Quran Muslims it says Quran 7-138, Ali Hachin, Quran 1981, Ali Hayton, Quran 7-127, Ali Hataka, Quran 43:58, Ali Hatuna, Quran 7-127, Ali Hataka, which is the pluralization of the name Allah, they will say blasphemy. Istaghfir Allah, a term used for forgive Allah, and why would Allah be forgiven? The name Allah is used as the female gender of Allah, in Quran 53:19, yet at the same time scholars dispute the meaning of Allah. Allah is the moon god, yet scholars claim that it is the idol Lot, which was a man who lived on a rock near Taif, and used to entertain the pilgrims to Makkah with barley drinks and food. When he died, the people built a shrine to him on the same rock and began worshipping him. According to Jarir Tabari, originally this word was Al-Hatun, which became Allat. The word Allat simply means female source. The idol Allat is mentioned in the Quran in conjunction with the other two idols, Al-Uzza and Manat. Allah is the moon god and Allat is the moon goddess. During the 19th century, 3 archaeologists named Arnaud, Alavi and Glaser went to Saudi Arabia and dug up thousands of Sabaean, Minian and Qutbanian inscriptions which were translated. In the 1940s and 50s, G. Caton Thompson, Charlton S. Kuhn, Wendell Phillips, W. F. Albright and Richard Bauer excavated sites at Qutban, Timna and Marib, which was the ancient capital of Sheba. They found that these inscriptions and votive read on the bowls were used in the worship of the daughters of Allah, Alat, Al-Uzza, and one of Allah's name is Al-Azza. The Kaaba was a temple to Isis. No other building in Al-Islam is a cube, only in Tama-Re, Egypt. Muhammad had a wife who was a Tama-Rean, Egyptian, named Miriam Qaitia. Manat is the last mentioned daughters of Allah, and this can be found in Quran 53:19-20. The 3 daughters of Allah were depicted at times together with Allah, the moon god, with a crescent moon above them. This was not only found in Saudi Arabia, it was also found in Palestine, Lebanon, and Iraq. Archaeological facts prove that the dominant religion of Arabia was the cult of the moon. This is also why Muslims use the crescent as their symbol, and look for the moon to break their fast of Ramadan, one of the biggest festival in Islam. The Muslims wait for the new moon to begin and end Ramadan. However, the new moon doesn't look like a crescent. Quran 2-189. You depend on the mistranslation of Quran 2-189, and are not aware that the term new moon is not found in the Ashuric Syriac, Arabic. The word used is Elahiyah, meaning moon crescents. One of the names of the moon god was Sin, which is also one of the titles of Aset, Ishtar, daughter of Sin or Nanner. Ishtar or Aset, Isis, was also called Ashtaroth, Judges 10:6, or Astaroth in the Bible. In Tamari her name was Aset. She is also called Diana, Dina. This is why Muslims call their religion Dinul Islam, Malikul Din or Deen. Inanna, Astarti, Nana, Nut, Anat, Anahita, Alset, Ishara, Ashtart, Atur-A, Atur, Hathor, Sin, and the Venus star, Sumerian Dilbat, are other names used for Aset. Ishtar also became considered a deity in Babylonia. There the morning star is called the male Venus and the evening star is called the female Venus. That's the 2 main prayer of the Muslim Salat al-Fajr, morning or sunrise, and Salat al-Maghrib, sunset prayer, both dealing with the coming and going of the moon. In both aspects, Ishtar is always a deity in Babylonian mythology. In actuality, Ishtar is the daughter of Nanner, Sin and Ningal. However, she is also known as the daughter of Luna and Zun, only because she pledged allegiance to these deities. 360 gods were worshipped at the Kaaba in Mecca. However, the moon god was the chief god, and Mecca was built as a shrine for the moon god, which made it the most sacred built site of Arabian paganism. The question at this point would be, why is Allah never distinguished in your Quran? Muhammad, the prophet of Islam, wanted Allah to be the sole god worshipped, because he was already recognized as the greatest or oldest god/deity. Say it, Allahu Akbar, Allah is the greatest or oldest of what? That's right, the rest of the 359 other gods and goddess. Muhammad's father's name was Abdullah or Abdullat/Abdullat, servant of Allah. They changed his name from Ahmad to Muhammad, and from son of Abdullah to son of Abdullah. If Allah wasn't a pagan god, why was Muhammad's father's name Abdullah? Islam is just another cult that worships the moon god, taken from Tama-Re, Egypt, like all others. However, if you tell this to a Muslim, they will say blasphemy, and kill you. They don't want you to reveal the truth to them about their scriptures. They want to remain in that blind tunnel. Religion is for people who choose to settle for anything. God can't provide for you anymore. It's time for you to become your own God. Is it not written in your laws, I said ye are gods, in John 10:34, and then in Psalms 82:6 it says, and all of ye are the children of the Most High. You have to become the God that controls and rules your every thoughts and imagination, and become somebody. You have to make it happen. You can't sit around calling on God or Allah, Buddha, Jehovah, Yahweh anymore because he's not listening to you. You go to church on Saturday, yet in Genesis 2:2, it says it's a day of rest for God. Sabat, meaning to desist, to cease, rest, from what you are doing. You are praying to God and he is sleeping, that's why your prayers are not being answered. It's not only the Christians. Quran 2-186 says, I, Allah, listen to the prayer of every suppliant when he calls on me. So it is obvious that Allah also stopped answering their prayers also. Now which God are you praying to? You are God. You are the sons of the Most High, El Ali and El, Neter Shil Netaru, Psalms 82:6. You are a part of all, and only you. If you want to, you can make things happen for yourself. And that's what I teach in New Wapu, which is sound, right reasoning, which leads to a right understanding. You will be standing over all this crap that they try to teach you in church or synagogues or mosques. You will see the crap in what they're teaching you, investigate it for yourself and find out the truth, because only the truth will make you free, not set you free. Some say set, it's make you free.